Babylon was conquered, and then there was Persia, and then there was Alexander the Great who conquered the whole world. Fascinating history and what was happening during that time. And then finally, Rome becomes the power of the day. And so you got this Greco-Roman influence. They were brutal. The biggest empire up to that day and time. And that's where the church was born, in the middle of this really wicked, pagan, sexually immoral, violent, cruel, little value for life Roman Empire. And the early church, listen, they had no political power. They had no social status. In the Roman Empire, the Jews were low, but then the Christians were below them. I mean, the Jews looked down on the Christians in the early first century. It was nothing. They had no access to the White House. They had no access to power. They had no social status. The only thing they had was the gospel and the power of the Holy Spirit. They were accused of being atheists because they would not bow down to Caesar. They were accused of being cannibals because they celebrated this thing called the Lord's Supper, his body and his blood. They were called to be rebels because they wouldn't give their submission. And yet, the church, the true church, you know what they lived as? They lived as faithful exiles and fearless ambassadors. Faithful exiles and fearless ambassadors. See, I'm telling you, we are not the first generation to live in Babylon. Really, the story of the Bible is God's people as exiles in Babylon. And that Babylon is just it was a real place, but it becomes this metaphorical picture of the systems of the world that are in rebellion against God.